Sorry, who's got a pen? Pen?
Here's one. Thank you, sir. Don't mention it.
Here, sign here. Clearly and legibly. Full name on the dotted line. Johann Jerome Gutenberg.
Napoleon.
Nero. Julius Caesar.
Gabriel.
Alexander the Great. Lucifer. Name. Judas.
Butterfly. Peter.
Achilles.
Samson.
Excuse us, sir. My colleague and I are here to conduct an inquiry. May we ask you a few questions?
Yes, please, master. I'm at your disposal.
You're here, as it were, to be sold, no?
Of course.
We are truly appalled, sir. We can imagine how you must feel, your fear, your indignation.
On the contrary, why, in my career, I have always been very lucky. I've had masters, each one more humane than the next.
But haven't you ever been treated brutally, whipped, beaten, tortured?
In our profession, what counts is to do one's duty. Don't listen to all those stories about the various Uncle Toms and Simon Legrees and so on. It's all nonsense. The truth is that we are valuable merchandise. And have you seen the prices in the market? I know it. I cost more than $2,000. And can you imagine a fool, excuse the expression, a fool of a master who would whip and maim a capital of over $2,000? No! If a slave is a respectable slave, his master treats him with kid gloves because it takes only one scar, one single scar, and plop, down shoots the price. You know, the client is suspicious.
But, sir, surely you must realize the injustice of your situation, the violation of your liberty, your freedom.
If you speak of freedom, sir, I must tell you something. I am a worker, and workers are not free and never will be. If you speak of my condition, I will quickly say, I don't pay taxes. I'm housed, fed, and clothed by my employer. I work a short week. My medical care is free. I get a Christmas bonus and retirement or permanent disability at the expense of my employer, without mentioning this, that in time of war, I am not even obligated to military service.
Oh, but if you're not even paid...
You know, I see the ones which you gentlemen call freed slaves or liberated workers out from morning till night, working like horses to make ends meet, and they never do. So, just tell me then, what's the difference between us slaves and liberated workers? Huh?
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Who? Me?
Yes, you. You're a dishonor to your race.
Quit waving that camera around, will you?
All right, but with all the thousands of tormented slaves there are in this country, we have to run into that puppet, that wretched collaborator.
Corpus Domini nostri Gesù Christi, custoreranno tua vita. Amen. Corpus Domini nostri Gesù Christi, custoreranno tua vita. Corpus Domini nostri Gesù Christi, custoreranno tua vita. Corpus Domini nostri Gesù Christi, custoreranno tua vita. Corpus Domini nostri custoreranno tua vita. Go and change the plate now, son. Corpus Domini nostri Gesù Christi, custodia animum tuum in vitam aeternam. Corpus Domini nostri Gesù Christi, custodia animum tuum in vitam aeternam. Amen.
listen to this. I'm quoting Hewitt. When work is finished, the slaves are allowed to congregate and perform religious rites which are merely a primitive African version of Christianity. Experience shows that the more religious a slave is, the more humble, resigned, and docile he is. However, the law prescribes that these devotions shall be monitored by a white man. And there he is. This elemental parody of the master's religion, Jesus, the gospel, the Bible, are all mixed together. Look at this. Africa instead of Palestine, the ocean instead of the Red Sea, slave ships and sharks instead of Romans, Egyptians, and so on. Here the plantation instead of Golgotha represents the place of Jesus' agony, and instead of Herod, the master with crosses, flagellations, and other delights.
What do the masters say to that? Does it or does it not prove they have souls?
The best person to answer that is the most eminent scientific authority of the day, Professor Samuel Cartwright, born in Jackson, Mississippi in 1802, died in Charleston, South Carolina in 1876.
Where did you say he died?
Of course, the Italians. Come. As you know, it's only a question of time. On the other hand, I hope to be speaking with people who have a basic understanding of this argument. Here. Tom, how are we going with the perspiration?
Ready, Professor.
Now, good. How about a smell? Is that a human odor or an animal odor? To speak more clearly, is the pH acid or alkaline? Naturally, it's acid. Answer, as a matter of fact, 1 square centimeter of this skin has twice the number of sweat glands as this skin. And you do not need a microscope to see the limited cranial capacity and the vile wool that covers it, this low forehead, or the eyes completely lacking in any blue pigment, or the animal-like nose with its dirty, wide nostrils and the abnormally strong teeth and this almost Neanderthal jaw are all characteristics of a sub-human race, a race far inferior to our own. A race that is but another example of nature's innumerable attempts to obtain perfection. Nature loves perfection. The perfection of the European Homo sapiens, the white race, us.
Excuse us, Professor, but aren't you Jewish?
Yes, but why? Let's imagine we'd want to rid ourselves of them. You wouldn't have to use atrocious methods like gas or deportation. It would suffice simply not to cure the diseases which infest the specimens here in this laboratory. Remember, and I've written this, a healthy Negro is a good slave, and a bad slave is a sick Negro. For example, look at them. Their disease is drapetomania, or the mania to escape. They think only of escape, but not out of an idea of freedom which is understandable in a human. The Negro doesn't have these sentiments. If he escapes only because he is sick. Now here is a perfect example of cachexia africana, or dirt eating.
What do they do, bite?
Oh, no. This is not a muzzle. No. It's simply to keep them from devouring every sort of refuse, including their own excrement and dirt. It's a form of unconscious suicide brought on by a lack of some substance of which we know nothing. There you are, little bird. There you are. Oh, boy. And look how far they'll go. Their fear of work and their laziness are such that they've succeeded in outwitting their masters. Now, what do you think of that? Look at these sly foxes. They willingly lose arms, legs, hands, and feet. See how they abuse themselves to get out of work. Then, of course, their masters have to take care of them. Come on.
But how could they possibly mutilate themselves to this extent?
Didn't I tell you? They gave themselves superficial wounds to avoid work. But then they got gangrene, and arms and legs had to be amputated in order to save their lives.
What are they doing here? They're Indians.
Ah, this is one of my many unsuccessful experiments. You see, with Indians, there's absolutely nothing to be done. There's the same difference between a Negro and an Indian as there is between a dog and a coyote. You can put a dog on a leash, beat him, and he'll always be there to lick your feet. Take away a coyote's liberty, and you've cut off his air. An Indian will never be a slave. No one has ever been able to make them reproduce in captivity. They do not eat, they do not talk, they do not sleep, they do not make love. On the other hand, these people exaggerate. The Negro boasts of an enormous member, not realizing that this is the result of still another disease, which is Eromania elephantina sudanensis. Oh, by the way, I invented this. It's to keep them away from their genitals so they can play with themselves. They have such enormous sexual activity, both fornication and sodomy, that they very, very soon in life, right from infancy, start to develop something that is quite remarkable, a very enormous penis, which causes lack of potency. Naturally, all of this is a great impediment to reproduction. Look at them, these extraordinary creatures, neither man nor beast, that ask to be part of our world. They're as old a race as we, and yet until yesterday they'd never seen a wheel. And their future, they have no future, as they have no past. Tomorrow, as today, slavery will be their only possible privilege. What could they ever do if they don't live in the reflections of our glory and profit by the crumbs from our well-laden table?
Let's see, page 971. Many of the slaves who ran away from the plantations hid in the trackless swamps of Florida. To recapture them, the white men organized extensive manhunts. The most efficient method placed obedient slaves and domestic animals in simulated refugee camps among the mangroves. The most famous of these man-traps was right here in the Bradenton swamps, where voices and laughter and the smell of roasting pig served as a decoy to the hungry escapees. In fact, in a single morning, the hunters bagged 47 runaways. Woo!